Love, a feeling that has driven some to madness and others to ecstasy. Love, a force that can start or stop a war, which can make or break families, which can make the best or the worst of us. We all know the healing and all-consuming power which is love. But the focus is often strongly on romantic love, especially around Valentine's Day. This can be reductive, and it can leave some very prone to loneliness. So let's take off the blinkers today and think together about love in a fuller picture. Hello and welcome or welcome back to Unwinding Minds. If you're new here, hi. It's nice to meet you. I'm Rosie. I'm a chronically ill counsellor based in the UK who specialises in supporting disabled, neurodiverse and chronically ill people with managing their mental health. I also make these videos as a supplement to my private counselling practice in order to support a wider base of people, including those who cannot currently access counselling with a professional like myself. It's very important to state, however, that these videos are not a substitute for counselling. They're not intended to be. They're only intended to support you with your psychoeducation. So I'm making this video around Valentine's Day, a holiday that I notice increasingly many people find the urge to opt out of altogether. I could speculate all day on the reasons for that, but that's not why we're here. Instead, the goal today is to think about how we should celebrate love without romantic attachments at the forefront. I want to focus on people who feel lonely or excluded on Valentine's Day, on those whose mental health affects relationships around them. I want to explore how disability and illness changes relationships and how they look, and at the pressure to seek romance. That's a lot, we may not fit all of that in there. Valentine's Day has a way of amplifying the pressures to find romantic love, as if being chosen by a partner is proof that you're doing life correctly. I think most of us are looking for the sense that we're going in the right direction in life, and the progression into adulthood has historically been associated with marriage in particular. Humans have the tendency to try and pick markers of meaning. We are meaning-seeking creatures, and whilst that can propel us to try and explore all the wonders or amazements of the universe, it has its downsides, and the biggest is trying to measure up against each other in the pursuit of doing well in life, whatever that means. And that influences how we look at romantic love heavily. The messaging can feel relentless, especially at this time of the year, that love should be big, bold, romantic, visible and expensive. And when it isn't, it's easy to internalise that absence as some kind of failure. But at the same time, it's important not to pretend that longing for love is just a social construct we can reason our way out of. Wanting romantic love is deeply human. Many people have a deep desire for it. The ache for intimacy or to be seen and chosen by someone in a very specific way. It doesn't just disappear because we intellectually reject the pressures that I spoke about. Two things can be true at once. The expectation to couple up can be unfair and at times very harmful, and the desire for romantic connection can still be real, valid, and tender, especially on days designed to remind us all of it. The picture of romantic love often looks very different in disability and illness too. Roles tend to shift, plans become more tentative, and connection has to make room for unpredictability in symptoms. Love may move away from spontaneity and towards more intention, from doing more to being more present. There can be grief for what relationships used to look like, even alongside deep gratitude for the people who stay. Intimacy might become more practical and be expressed through patience or flexibility and care, rather than in grand gestures, although who doesn't love a big boombox? Love that can change shape to fit in the reality of the people that are in it is beautiful. And my goodness, the way that people look at those who are in a relationship with a disabled person really shifts. But that's a subject that I could waffle on about all day, and I don't want to take up all your time. Yes, romantic love is a complex subject. I won't make any efforts today to tell you whether it's necessary or desirable as a component of your life. Instead, I think that this particular holiday, it lends itself well to thinking about love on a broader spectrum. How about we start looking at other kinds of love together? I'm a counsellor, so I don't suppose it will surprise anyone that much that I'm going to start with self-love. Wait, don't click off. I promise I'm not trying to be corny. I'm not talking about having a bubble bath, or meditation, or positive affirmations, or having a cup of tea, or sleeping well. Well, not exclusively anyway. All those things are really nice. No, I'm talking about the far less sexy things, like trying to make sure that you file your taxes early enough so that you don't have a meltdown about it the day before it's due, or choosing to prioritise the things or the people that enrich your life. It might mean being more tolerant of yourself on days where you fall short of your own expectations. Sometimes self-love isn't really so much about liking yourself as it is about not abandoning or abusing yourself. This kind of self-love is quiet and unglamorous, but it's foundational. It's the decision to stay on your own side, even when you don't feel confident, healed, or particularly proud of where you are. And that in itself is an act of care. I mean, what do you think of that? What do you think about treating yourself that way? Does that match up with how you treat yourself? If not, how about reflecting on what would be needed to change that? You have this day, this opportunity to ask yourself that question. Maybe the whole self-love thing is something that you've already mastered, and that's not why you're here at all. If so, kudos to you, that's great. And maybe turning your attention to sources of platonic love would be another healing thing that you could do for yourself. Platonic love is the love that's found in friendships and family, chosen or otherwise, and is often the quiet backbone of our lives, especially when mental health or disability makes things harder. What can be done to improve the platonic relationships in your life right now? Platonic love often means staying with people when you or they are struggling. It might improve when we say, "No pressure to reply," and mean it. These relationships don't need to demand performance or constant positivity to be fulfilling. The most fulfilling ones make room for honesty and fluctuation. For disabled and chronically ill people in particular, platonic love often adapts. Your plans might have to change, hanging out might become lower energy, or connection happens from a distance, and yet that love can remain steady, proving that intimacy isn't measured by proximity or by productivity, but by understanding each other and showing care. But these are just some ideas about platonic relationships. There are many pathways to being a good friend and having good friendships. So if you sit with yourself right now and you choose to be really honest and really transparent with yourself, what is one thing you could do today that would improve an important platonic relationship in your life? That could be how you spend your time around Valentine's Day, reflecting on questions like this. Now on to altruism. Altruistic love is the kind of love expressed through acts of care, generosity, and thoughtfulness towards others, even strangers. You may find yourself in the fortunate position in life to be able to connect meaningfully with others in this way right now. Altruistic love doesn't require closeness or recognition or even reciprocation. It often shows up in quiet and small gestures, or in moments when someone else's needs just take priority. This kind of love can be deeply nourishing, proving that giving doesn't mean losing, and that kindness is a form of connection just as real as friendship or romance. You could today sit with yourself for a moment. What is one small intentional act of altruistic love that you could do today? Something that would ripple out beyond you, and hopefully still be sustainable for your own energy. Reflecting on questions like this can make Valentine's Day feel broader, gentler, and more inclusive. It may be an act of charity or a kind note to a neighbour who looks a bit down in the mouth. It doesn't really matter what it is that you do, but this is a meaningful way of spreading love to others. If you are feeling lonely, I encourage you to indulge in giving to your community, and just watch to see what it does for you as well. Love isn't only romantic, And it doesn't exist only in couples. It takes many forms in friendships, in self-care, and in acts of patience and presence, whether that's towards family or strangers. You don't need a partner to be loved, and the way your Valentine's Day looks doesn't determine your worth or your capacity to give or receive love. Even if today feels quiet or different from what you expected, it can still be full of love in its own way. If you've made it this far, please know that I'm very grateful to you. If this episode has resonated with you, please take a second to like it, to subscribe, or share it with somebody else who might like to hear a happy Valentine's message today. You never know, you might actually improve their day quite a bit. We make a lot of videos about chronic illness, disability, neurodivergence, and mental health on this channel. We cover a broad spectrum of topics, and I'm always really interested to see what people want to see more of. If you have thoughts, please put them down in the comments section below, because I do read them. And check the description if you're interested in working with me on a one-to-one basis, as I do offer private counselling. Thank you so much for watching, and take really good care.